I'm glad my new office faces out on the Capitol. We've come a long way together, Louisiana and the State Library. "34 years. Is it possible? No wonder I have so much to remember." Our first state library. One room, one table for readers. And today, the best of modern facilities for serving Louisiana's people. The state itself has changed as much. Beautiful, almost 70% rural in the 20s, with formidable travel barriers. A state without libraries for its people. A people without knowledge of what a library means. For almost 2 million Louisianians, only 5 public libraries, and those in the cities. The only answer was to demonstrate what a library is, what it can do. Our first demonstration showed how ready these Louisianians were for libraries. The demonstration method has proved as good today as in the beginning. Now we have reports on Cameron Parish Library, Louisiana's 47th library demonstration. An outstanding librarian is Mary Brand, trained and experienced. Her reports are formal, full of human interest. They capture the essence of Cameron. The courage and energy of a people who returned to the awful wreckage left by Hurricane Audrey to rebuild their town, their homes, their businesses, their churches, their schools, and up from grim remains of the few home and school book collections to build a public library in a parish hungering for books. So the Cameron Library was dedicated in simple ceremonies, memorializing those who lost their lives in the storm. The building, a gift to the National JC organization. The library opened for business, and the bookmobile took to the road just 1 year after Hurricane Audrey. Now, after only a few months of operation, everybody feels it's his library. Our young newspaper editor sees to that, interviews our board members on library activities, and explains to the people of the parish exactly how the demonstration works. How the police jury establishes the library and appoints the local board. How the state library organizes and operates the demonstration. And how the parish provides full financial support after the demonstration period. Our readers are a varied lot, like the oil field engineer who wants a book on Iran. And Mr. Broussard, who comes in from his trapping camp and gets books for his whole family. They read classics as well as bestsellers. Young and old are finding books to widen their world. Through our bookmobile, we're able to bring books to people who live miles away from the library building.
We're on our way by 8 o'clock in the morning, and on an average day, we check out about 500 books. Each month, we travel about 1,000 miles to reach the 25 places where readers meet us on regularly scheduled stops. At the Mermentau River crossing, the ferryman tells us of his latest adventure in collecting Acadian folk music. He's always exploring the bayous and thinking of lost pirate treasure. We gave him a Jean Lafitte book. Each time we come to our stop at Grand Chenier Post Office, there are more people waiting. Mrs. June Harper said, "Give me a book to make me cry." So I gave her the Diary of Anne Frank. Mr. Ned Crane came in to renew the Toynbee book he's been reading. Some wish we could come to Creole more often than every other week. All we can do is urge readers to take a good supply of books. Mrs. Hebert came whizzing up with her clan. This time she had a book checked out for her own reading. What shall we name the baby? A little boy told me that Buffalo Bill was his great-grandfather's cousin, and he wanted a book about him. I found the book, but doubted the story, until a library board member later said that it was true. Mr. Jones came out of his store with a dark expression to say he had not liked his Zane Grey book. It wasn't natural for a wild horse which nobody could ride to let a chit of a girl get up on him and canter away. Mr. Jones seemed truly upset and said that he'd been noticing people all over the neighborhood reading, and he wondered if any work was getting done. I ventured that it was getting done, and probably done better with the help of library books. Mrs. Beaudron was so kind and brought us a pie made from a new recipe from a library book. As we came by Mrs. Goodman's, we noticed that she just received her first talking book records in the mail. They were for her blind mother. Mrs. Goodman had asked if I'd show her how to operate the talking book machine when the records came. We have several blind readers who are grateful for the machine provided by the State Welfare Department and for talking books supplied by the Louisiana Mississippi Service for the Blind in the State Library at Baton Rouge. During the regular school year, stops at South Cameron School are popular. We're often greeted by Donald Broussard, school librarian. He's most helpful in cooperating with the parish library. Stop at Audrey School on our regular runs and are well received by the children and by adults who gather at this stop to get their books. Because of widespread destruction of books in Hurricane Audrey, the book as a physical object is held in high regard in Cameron. A woman checked out the life of Booker T. Washington, saying she had once owned a copy, her treasure, but lost it in the hurricane. There was a man who wanted a book on animal care, for the sake of my mule. In mid-afternoon, we turned into what they call the big pasture country. Our last stop of the day is right on Grand Lake. It's rather pretty here, shade trees and large old-time houses. There were two little girls with Chihuahua puppies who wanted dog books. They come every time we make the stop, and pretty soon we'll have to request more dog books from the State Library. Even the dogs themselves seem to love the bookmobile. Mr. Dupuy made me very happy by expressing his appreciation of the library in a way I'll never forget. Being sociable in the Louisiana French country means drinking much, much strong black coffee. I had my 5th cup of the day in the cool shade at Savoy's store. Mr. Savoy was boiling crabs in a big black pot. Driving back to town in the late evening, I kept remembering what Mr. Dupuy had said.
Always before, I thought a library was a big brick building with old books inside. But since you've been coming here with a bookmobile, I've had a change of mind. Now I see what a library really is. Books and people, with a librarian to bring them together.
As part of our work of demonstrating library service to Cameron people, we bring cultural programs to the parish. Among the outside speakers we've sponsored is Mrs. Lois Lester, former State Library board member, who talks on Audubon in his bird paintings. Very appropriate in Cameron Parish because the Lodge Sabine Bird Refuge is located here. At all kinds of meetings, we make use of the State Library's film service and welcome a chance to show educational films. My efforts to sell the library demonstration take me into stores all over town. Businessmen who appreciate library service during its trial period will be voting to continue it next year, we hope, when the library tax election comes up. Our special request file grows as more of our readers learn we can borrow for them from the large book collection of the State Library. The variety of reading requests is amazing. One wants a book on philosophy, another on planning a small church wedding. One wants a book on date etiquette, another a book on cowboys. Our readers are impressed when I tell them of the care and speed with which their special requests are handled by the State Library in Baton Rouge. Individual requests are the most common, of course, but when a local civic club in Cameron asked for help in preparing a community recreation program, the State Library supplied a variety of materials. If this group's response is typical, Cameron's demonstration is assured of support when property owners are asked to vote yes to make their library permanent.
As I begin my first narrative report on the Plaquemines Parish Library demonstration, I want to thank you again for having me in Baton Rouge to be in on the demonstration from the beginning. I was interested to see how the State Library goes about getting the book collection ready for a demonstration. The books selected were completely cataloged and packed in shelf order when they were shipped to Plaquemines. We had 8,000 ready to be checked out the day they arrived. Opening night was an exciting event in Plaquemines Parish. Everybody was invited. Mr. Marshall, president of the police jury, was very pleased with all our displays. He said he was especially glad to see the poster explaining exactly how the State Library pays most of the demonstration costs, how the police jury pays the remainder of the demonstration costs, and how the parish provides full financial support after the demonstration period. He said to me that the police jury wants to protect the money it has already invested, and that we intend this library to be permanent. That was good news coming before a single book had been checked out in Plaquemines. And there were some that night who couldn't wait until we opened for business the next morning.
A very gratifying report of the beginning of Louisiana's 48th Parish Library. It has been a thrilling experience to watch the library spread out on the map since our demonstration program began so many years ago. Now the realization of our dream is near, a free public library for every parish in Louisiana.
Now I see what a library really is. Books and people, with a librarian to bring them together.